Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well today. So today I wanted to bring you this video of my top 10 current favorite summer blushes. So I know we're halfway through the summer, but we're still in the season, so I thought I would get this out for you guys. And I'm actually trying out a new camera, so if you guys feel strongly one way or the other, like for or against this camera, let me know in the comments below, because I'm not sure if I'm going to use this in the future. And I actually filmed this video earlier today, and it turned out that the lighting was really horrible, so I'm crossing my fingers that this actually works this time. But anyway, so without further ado, I'm going to start with the orange coral type blushes that I have that are my favorites. And so the first one is a drugstore blush, and it is the NYX blush in the shade Cinnamon. So this blush looks like very bright orange, and it actually is quite orange, but it does blend out to a very, very beautiful color if you blend it out really nicely on your cheeks. So it's not, I wouldn't call it coral, I would just say it is orangey, but it looks really nice as long as you have like a warm tone skin. If you have like cool tone, I would stay away from it, but it's really nice for warm tone skin. So then the next blush, actually the next two blushes are both limited edition, and they were both new this season, and I loved them so much that they made it into my video. So if you can still snag these blushes, I totally recommend picking these puppies up because they're pretty awesome, especially this first one, especially for the price. This first one is a Maybelline blush, and it's the one, it's called Coral Burst, and it's the one that they had limited edition for spring, but a lot of drugstores, I've still seen it out in some of the drugstores in my area, or at least this display I've seen out. And so it looks super bright orange in the container, so it kind of makes you think, why do they call it Coral Burst? It looks really orange. But I found that when I put it on my skin, it actually blends out to become a little bit more pinky, a little bit more corally, in my opinion. And so hopefully this will show up well in the lighting and you can see it. But so the things that make this so special are, one, it's super pigmented, so tons of skin tones can use it. You just have to be careful if you are fair skinned like I am and not over apply. As long as I use a soft brush and I'm just careful about how I apply it, it applies really beautifully. The other thing about it I love is that the finish on it is so perfect for spring and summer because it's just a little bit, no sparkly particles or anything like that, but it's just got a beautiful, healthy glow shimmer to it. And that's just really, really, really nice. And the third thing that I really love about it is that it's super long wearing. I mean, 6, 7, 8 hours, it seems to do really, really well for me. So anyway, that's the end of that blush. And then the next blush is a higher end blush, one by Chanel. And this was a limited edition blush for spring. It's called the Jus Contrast in the color Frivole. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's spelled Frivole. And so in the container, it doesn't look as bright as the last two I showed you, but it still looks fairly more maybe orange than actually peachy, but it actually, I find when it blends out on the skin, it's very peachy. So it's a very beautiful blush, very, very finely milled. It blends out gorgeously, and it's just very beautiful. It's just matte, but I find that it's got about average staying power. And so the container for it that it comes in is just really beautiful. It's all smooth, and it's a Chanel, and it's just really pretty. I like it. And then the brush that comes with it is actually fairly decent for a brush that comes with a blush. Usually they kind of are, I don't know, almost worthless, and I will toss them aside or discard them or whatever. But this is actually a pretty decent little brush that comes with this one. So anyway, the next blushes that I have are two more of the orange type shades, and they're both cream blushes. And usually I tend to stay away more from cream blushes, especially if they're a heavier consistency in the summertime, just because obvious reasons: humidity, heat, sweating. Oily skins have more trouble in the summer, and my skin is sort of combination, so I do have like some oiliness, especially in the T-zone, and it can work its way out. So I try to stay away from cream blushes as much as possible. But these two blushes I don't have any trouble with in the summer. The first one is the YSL blush, Creme de Blush in the shade 4, and this one looks like a super, super duper bright orange. It looks pretty scary, actually, a little intimidating in the container, but this YSL has, I think, the nicest cream blush formula I've ever tried or felt, or, you know, swatched in the store or anything at all. And even though it looks really bright there, it blends out almost effortlessly. Like, I'm barely even pressing on my skin, and it just is so gorgeous. Very, very beautiful. I wouldn't say that this blush is super long wearing. It's about average, but it's still just so easy to use and a beautiful color. I love it for summer and spring. So then the next the final sort of orange or coral shade is this blush by e.l.f, and it is their cream blusher in the shade Rude. And so it's also like super, super pigmented, and this one doesn't have as light of a formula as the YSL one, but it's so pigmented that I don't have to use hardly any, and then it just blends out to a really lovely color. So, you know, you could build up the color if you had a deeper skin tone. All of the ones that I just showed you were all pretty pigmented, where you could use it if you had definitely medium and tan skin tones, but also on fair skin, as you can see, you can just blend it out to a beautiful shade, a peachy orangey type shade. So it's very, very nice, and none of those blushes that I just showed you really have much pink to them. The Chanel one, maybe a little bit more like on the peach side of things, and also the Maybelline one maybe more on the peach side, but not like really pinky peach or anything like that. They're all pretty standard orange. So then now moving on to more of the pink shades. The first one that I want to show you is also a cream blush. I know I said I stay away from cream blushes, and I seem to be talking about a lot of them actually in this video, but it's also got a pretty light texture. It's the e.l.f. HD blush in the color Superstar. So this one I love, not only because it has an amazing price tag attached to it, but just a tiny, tiny little bit of this stuff is super, super pigmented. And for that reason, I hope you can tell how crazy pigmented it is. You don't, I mean, the formula in and of itself is pretty light, but you barely use any and blend it out, and it just is almost nothing on your cheeks. So really, it's a really lovely blush for summer, and it actually has really wonderful staying power, which surprises me for like an e.l.f. product. A lot of them are nice products, but usually the staying power isn't amazing or anything like that. But this one, I can wear it for about 5 or 6 hours before I really notice fading starting to happen. So that's pretty impressive, I think, for a $3 product. And then the next blush that I want to tell you about is a powder blush by e.l.f. And this blush is called Hussy. And it is just like a really beautiful, bright, warm tone pink. And the e.l.f. blusher was also sort of a warm tone pink. It's actually kind of similar to this one. But this one's just very, very finely milled. It is all matte. It blends out really nicely, and again, you can use it for deeper skin tones. It works well. Lighter skin tones, I can blend it out. And I also love this because even though it's not advertised as being a really long wear blush necessarily, I find that this one really stays. Like, it really stays really well for I mean, it stays as well as my Tarte blushes, probably, the ones that are long wearing. So I think that's impressive. So anyway, the next one is another powder blush that is probably the longest wearing blush that I've ever had. I've never had a blush that's longer wearing anyway, I can definitely say. And that is the Balm's In-Stain blush in this shade Toile. So Toile is spelled T-O-I-L-E. If you're not familiar with that term, it's not a very commonly used English word in the United States. But this blush is like, it's advertised as being sort of like a strawberry color. I don't know if I would call it strawberry or not. It's just a warm tone pink that's actually really bright, perfect for like spring and for summery. When you blend it out, it's just got a beautiful, bright sort of color. And of course, this looks really, really deep, but you can, you know, as long as you're careful with it, you can use it for lighter skin tones. I have no trouble with it, and it just shows up really, really beautifully. And these Balm, the In-Stains by the Balm, they really are a stain. The only thing is that you have to make sure that when you place it on your cheek, you can't really blend it out after that. You just have to place it kind of where you want it. Otherwise, it doesn't really seem to move, like once you put it on your cheeks. But otherwise, this is a wonderful blush, and I think it would last a really long time, especially for someone with fair skin, because you don't have to use a lot of it to get what you want. So the last of the sort of pink type blushes, this one's actually more towards red than pink, but it is a fairly new blush to me, but I have fallen in love with it, and it is the Josie Maran Coconut Watercolor Cheek Jelly in the shade Getaway Red. So this one, I don't unfortunately have a stipple brush sitting next to me, but I just did a review on this. It's kind of short, so if you want to look that up, you can. But basically, this doesn't look very pigmented when you swatch it with your finger, but if you take a stippling brush and swatch it or put it on your cheek, it's very, very pigmented. So I think definitely medium, tan skin tones can use this just fine. And what I love about it for summer is that it is sort of translucent almost, like you can see through it on the skin. Even though it's pigmentation, it looks like a very natural flush. You can actually see your skin through it. And second, the second wonderful thing about it is that it has very, very good staying power. So it says, it's advertised as being 14-hour wear, but I I haven't worn it that long, but I can definitely say like around 11 hours I didn't notice fading. So I think that's really impressive, especially it's a pretty natural product. I think 50% of it is like coconut water, and then I don't know if it has argan oil. I read somewhere on somebody's blog that it had argan oil, but I'm not sure if that's actually true or not. But anyway, it's a wonderful blush. And then that's the last of the very pigmented blushes, and the last one that I'm going to talk about is actually just sort of like, it's for the times that it's summertime. You just want to pop on a blush that's kind of subtle, that looks nice and fresh, and you know, if you want to do something maybe more athletic in nature and you still need to pop on a blush, this is great for that. It's great for going to the grocery store. It's great for anything. You can't overdo it if you have a light skin tone. It's just really lovely, and that is a beloved blush of mine. It's the Milani Baked Blush in Luminoso. So this is a peach tone blush that is just what I just said it is. It's just amazing. It's so different than the rest of the Milani blushes, so if you have tried those and you don't like them, don't swear off this one because it's really nice. And I don't know if you can even see it showing up. It's just quite subtle, but it's definitely there, and it seems to stay really well, and it's got a wonderful luminous finish. So again, it's not like a sparkle or the shimmer particles that are in the other Milani blushes, but it's got a beautiful luminous glow to it, hence the name maybe Luminoso. I don't know if that's where they came up with it. But anyway, actually I know this is top 10 blushes, but I couldn't do just 10. Because I have this peach tone, really easy, you know, doable for any time kind of blush that's really great, I wanted to do sort of a matching pink one. So I'm going to do an 11th blush, and that is one that I actually recently found as well, and it's kind of new to drugstores. It's been slow to make its way, I think, into the drugstores, so I don't know. My sister and I randomly found this at a Walmart in town, sort of a, not even a Walmart Supercenter, it's sort of a really old, dilapidated kind of a Walmart, and we actually found all of these new Rimmel products there. And so this is the Rimmel London Lasting Finish Soft Color Blush in the shade Pink Sorbet. So I can't attest to any of the other ones. I haven't tried any of the other blushes in this line, but the Pink Sorbet one is really lovely. It also, it's very finely milled, and it's got a really beautiful sort of sheen to it. Hopefully you'll be able to see it or here, I'll put it on this side of my hand so maybe you can see it better. It is, I would say, neutral to maybe a little bit on the warm side of a pink, but it's definitely pink, you can tell. And it's just very luminous, very beautiful, hard to overdo. You can wear it anytime, you know, like I said, going to the grocery store or whenever you don't want to put on a heavier blush or I don't know, a blush that stands out more. These are kind of like no blush blushes almost. And so I'm going to swatch Luminoso next to it just so that you can see that it really is like, I did these really heavy. Of course, on your cheeks, you're not going to do it this heavy, but this is the pink one and the peach one. So this was the Rimmel Pink Sorbet and the Milani Luminoso. So anyway, that concludes this blush video. And oh, before I forget, I have a giveaway open until July 31st, 2013. So if you're watching this video and you haven't had a chance to enter the giveaway, check out that video. It's like a couple of videos down on my channel. So anyway, you'll want to definitely check that out before the giveaway ends. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me to hear from you guys and to hear your comments. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And thanks again for watching, and I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye!